Hello and welcome to another Film Reviewer live pop-up chat. It is Sunday and we have some stories to talk about today. It's actually Sunday the 9th of February 2020 and I don't know about you guys, but this month seems to be passing us by as quickly as what January was. Before we start, I am going to go to the chat room and see who is able to join us live. And obviously, I will be taking questions and as many comments, viewer comments, as I possibly can throughout this live chat. So probably take a little while for people to come in. But I can see that Karen is already here from Brazil. Hello to you in Brazil. I'll wait a little moment because I know a lot of people like to join in the live chat. But I am going to talk a little bit about the weather. So here in the UK, we are being battled by a storm. So most of the day, there's been a really big storm called Kira. Well, it's been pronounced in the media as Kira, but it's spelt Ciara. I might have probably said Ciara or something like that, but anyway, it's been mentioned as Kira. By the way, I'll get to the point of mentioning the storm because it is pertinent for a part of this video. So where I am, it has been really windy, 80 mile per hour winds, lots of rain, it's been wet, it's been cold, and I will show you now why that was pertinent. So, the Queen has not attended church today. She usually attends church wherever she is. That's the usual Sunday service. And obviously, I personally think that at the moment she is still at Sandringham and she'll return to start her working week tomorrow. She usually returns from Sandringham after Accession Day, but because Accession Day was on the weekend this week, I think she will return from her festive winter break tomorrow. So she wasn't seen out at church, even if she was in Windsor. She wasn't seen out. She wasn't seen out at Sandringham, and the reason for that, an official palace statement was that the winds were a concern. The storm was a concern. It's been very blustery, very windy, very wet, and there was obviously a concern about the weather, either being out in the weather, the high winds, how it can make people uncomfortable on their feet. So the Queen did not attend public church, although I am sure she will have held her own private religious ceremony wherever she may be at the moment. Dixie Tree says, hi from Norfolk. Hello, let me know. You are ideally placed to let me know exactly what the weather was like in Norfolk today. Do let me know. I know what it's like in Shropshire, and it's been very bad. So do let me know from my little informant in Norfolk. Let me know, Dixie, what it was like. Kada Girl is from Scotland, and Corgi Pond says konnichiwa. Konnichiwa to you too. Karen says we are a global audience. You are indeed. And greetings from Sydney too, from Catherine. Right, I'm going to move on. Excuse me, I'm clearing my throat. I still have a little bit of a residual cold left over from Christmas. I know, these things do seem to linger. But yes, right. I'm now going to move to the main part of this story. Sorry I don't have my pen to take down timestamps today, so I'm going to try and keep this whole conversation brief if I can. But there are rumours going around. You may have seen articles that the Queen has asked or requested the presence of Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, as they are still known, HRHs at the moment, to attend the Commonwealth service on March the 9th at Westminster Abbey, which may also include, around that time, a final round of royal engagements for the couple to round off their transition period. Now, I'm not going to link to the article or anything like that, but I am going to use it for my own reference points. Because I'm going to jump all the way right down to the very bottom of the article before I even start. So, Buckingham Palace were contacted but didn't wish to discuss whether or not the Duke and Duchess were asked if whether they were asked by Her Majesty to attend the Commonwealth service. So right at the outset, we have Buckingham Palace neither confirming nor denying that Harry and Meghan were asked. Personally, I think this is a speculative story that has got out there and is now being put about by lots and lots and lots of different media outlets. And as we know, more often than not, when a story is put out there, it kind of gets into people's psyche and people begin to believe it, which is why I'm talking about it now. To actually say at the outset that nothing has been confirmed by Buckingham Palace. I want you guys to be the ones to know the truth about these stories that are getting out there, because there is, as always, a lot of misinformation. Also, I say this every Sunday, it's a Sunday. The papers, the online media are always looking for some kind of royal story, a Harry and Meghan story. We know Harry and Meghan stories sell well, they get views, they get clicks. So a Harry and Meghan story, they must produce on a Sunday. They're probably told they have to produce a story. So this one, I'm putting down to being a speculative story. We know it's a fixed point in the royal calendar that the Commonwealth Day service is held in March. I think it's something like the second Saturday or Sunday. But anyway, March the 9th it is this year. So we know it's going to happen. It's a fixed point. And we know that Harry and Meghan have very, very strong links to the Commonwealth. So it's not really a big stretch, a big leap of the imagination to speculate that Harry and Meghan may have been invited to attend this Commonwealth Day service. Also, we know that during the transition period, since they made their announcement to step back, that they would be doing some kind of winding down of their engagements. And that must come to a close in the spring. So it all kind of fits in that they would have been perhaps asked or invited by the Queen. Of course, if you are asked or invited, you do not have to come. Although I imagine if your grandmother, the Queen, is asking you to go, then perhaps you might want to go. But like I say, there has been nothing confirmed as of yet whether or not Harry and Meghan will be attendants at the Commonwealth service on March the 9th at Westminster Abbey. Let me just take a look at what people are saying in the comment section below. Terry Turner says, I certainly hope that Harry and Meghan do attend the Commonwealth Day service. It would be lovely to see them. It would be nice to see them. Obviously, the rest of the royal family who are not doing any engagement which requires them to be away will be there too. So it will be nice to see them back. Oh, tiara slipping. It will be nice to see them back with the family. Miriam says they didn't lose the HRH, just aren't supposed to use HRH in business settings. Exactly. They still technically retain the HRH. They are still the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, but they are not going to use it for any commercial ventures, which helps to kind of clear things up and square things off. V. Brame, is it Bram or Brame, says, if the Queen wanted them to stay, she would have stood up for them like she's doing Andrew. I don't believe this story. Do you mean the story about Harry and Meghan being asked by the Queen to... Well, I think it's quite possible that she has asked them because they are still involved with the Commonwealth. They did not have to relinquish the President and Vice President of the Queen's Commonwealth Trust. They still have that. That was not a requirement. That did not factor into them stepping back. So they are still involved in the Commonwealth as an institution. So again, that's why it's a bit of a no-brainer that they will have been asked to attend the Commonwealth Day service in Britain. So yes, they have not been stripped of their Commonwealth links. So let's put it that way. It kind of makes sense that they would still want to support the Commonwealth. Munro Taylor says, I love and support the Sussex family, but I want them back in the Royals. Yes, Harry lost the youth ambassador, but not the president and vice president of the Queen's Commonwealth Trust. Let's have a look. I'm going to scoot up just slightly. Right. I'm going to move on to the next story because unless we get any official confirmation from the palace, I think I'm kind of done with that story. There was also news going back to Harry and Meghan at the JP Morgan event. Apparently, there are eyewitness accounts reports that they dined with Jennifer Lopez and Alex Rodriguez, and apparently somebody was eavesdropping and possibly overheard a conversation. Now, this could be a little bit like when you sit in a circle and you pass on a message and it goes round and round and round until it gets back to the person and it's completely distorted. But somebody did say that they heard that Jennifer Lopez had invited them to her and Alex Rodriguez's home. So again, we don't know if that's true, but that story has been doing the rounds. And just to let you all know that is just a bit of hearsay. But there has nothing ever been officially said. It's just a little bit of tittle tattle, shall we say. Like I said, also the Queen did not, for those of you just joining, the Queen did not attend church today. I was hoping to bring you a lovely set of royal photographs of the Queen, maybe talking about what the Queen's been wearing today at church, but she was rained off because of the storm Kira that's going on at the moment here in the UK. Now, I know a lot of you are talking about the video I posted earlier, and I don't think I think I missed out one little bit of crucial information because a lot of people. This is about Prince Andrew, Sarah, Duchess of York, and Princess Beatrice with the Chinese ambassador. They were invited in a private capacity, not officially representing the UK, not officially representing the Queen. They were invited to the Chinese embassy in London. They didn't go to China. That's one thing that, I don't know, I thought it was pretty obvious that they hadn't gone to China. But they were celebrating and welcoming in the Chinese New Year. They were invited privately by the Chinese ambassador here in London. I'm not in London, but here in the UK, in London. So they did not travel to China. They did not officially represent the Queen. However, the one bit that did cause a little bit of confusion amongst royal watchers was the not statement, it was a tweet that was put out by Liu Xiaoming, who is the Chinese ambassador. Please don't read me on the pronunciation of his name. I tried my best. So I will read the first tweet again. I did read it in the video, but I'll read it again, just for a little bit of clarity in this video. So he tweeted today, "My wife and I invited the Duke of York and his family to our residence and celebrated Chinese New Year. Their enthusiasm for China and contribution to China-UK relations is highly appreciated." So I just want to kind of dissect that comment a little bit. So he is stressing, obviously, that he and his wife invited the Duke of York and his family to their residence. So he's saying that he did it privately, basically. The reason he gave is to celebrate the Chinese New Year. And he referred to their enthusiasm for China and contribution to China-UK relations is highly appreciated. And I think what he's referring to is obviously the work that Prince Andrew has done in the past on behalf of the UK as UK trade ambassador, doing lots of things on behalf of the UK whilst he was still operating in an official royal capacity. And obviously that has been remembered by the ambassador, and that's one of the reasons why he's been invited. People are asking, why was Beatrice there? Well, Beatrice obviously part of the York family. Sarah was there as well. And let's not forget that Beatrice is marrying Edoardo Mapelli Mozzi, who already has a child from a previous relationship, and this child is half Chinese. So there is a bit of a whole link between. Well, that's some of the reasons why I think that they were asked to be there. Going up, he made another tweet, which now this is the bit that kind of raised a few questions because a private being invited there privately in a private capacity is one thing, but these words are very, very curious. So he tweeted, Her Majesty the Queen sent an encouraging message to President Xi and the Chinese people. So he's saying that the Queen sent a message. Let's see what the message is. So he recalls that the message says, At the critical time of fighting the coronavirus, I express my sincere sympathy for Chinese people and pray for the speedy control and victory over the virus. It was conveyed by the Duke of York. So, Liu Xiaoming is saying that the Duke of York conveyed the message from the Queen. This isn't a formal message. If anything, this is an informal message. Perhaps the Queen mentioned to Andrew that when you go, give my best, all that kind of thing, the things that you might normally do. But the message, again, it's one of those things where there are a little bit of wording in there that doesn't kind of fit with what the Queen might kind of use. So if we go to the speedy control and victory over the virus. I mean, the Queen wouldn't necessarily use victory, definitely not in a official capacity when doing a press release. So it's very, very curious. Perhaps the message passed on from Andrew was kind of not entirely translated in full and then put out again in a tweet by Liu Xiaoming. Of course, obviously, it's Twitter. You are constrained to a certain amount of characters. So, yeah, I mean, the message doesn't entirely fit with the Queen. Then, of course, lots and lots of media establishments, print and online, have asked Buckingham Palace if that was a message from the Queen, and the Palace has declined to comment. So the Palace hasn't said yes, they haven't said no. Basically, what they've said is this is a private. The Yorks have been there on a private capacity, and they do not comment on anything that's a private capacity. So it's just really, really curious. So I just wanted to kind of get out there that no, the Yorks did not go to China representing the Queen. This was a private capacity. It was in London, and it was at the request of the Chinese ambassador personally. So I just wanted to kind of clear that up because I read lots of comments on that video, and people didn't really get from the video that they hadn't travelled to China. So I wanted to clear that one up. Let me see what people think. Miriam says, I agree, it sounds a little odd. The wording is not quite what the Queen would kind of use. AA says, I thought Andy was stepping back. He has. This was a private capacity. And another point to mention as well was that Andrew, Sarah or Beatrice did not put this out. They didn't tweet it. They didn't tweet the photo. This was put out by the Chinese ambassador. They may have their own motives and reasons for doing that. Political ones, maybe. But I'm not going to get into that. That's political. But it wasn't put out there. It wasn't publicised by the palace. It wasn't publicised by Andrew, Sarah or Beatrice. Katie says, I assume language barrier could have been an issue as well. Yeah, I mean, some things could have been lost in translation. However, the gist, the thrust of the message does sound something like what the Queen would convey, just not necessarily that wording, I would say. The sentiment is there. The sentiment is definitely there. Cynthia says, if Beatrice and Eugenie take over Harry's patronage, will their spouses have to give up their jobs? Oh, that's another thing that people weren't too sure about from when I did my last live chat. So, there is a difference between males marrying into the royal family if they are marrying a female that has a HRH, or a title or anything of that nature. So, basically, this all boils down to the history, which is entirely unfair now. In fact, I'm of the opinion that a lot of these rules need updating and changing, but we are where we are, and the laws and rules are the rules. So, just the same as Prince Philip, when he married the Queen, he could not be king. If it was the other way round, and it was King Philip, and he married Elizabeth, Elizabeth would have been Queen Consort. We have sexist rules. That is the way it is. Personally, I think that they need to be updated and changed. Also, to include, the rights of lesbian and gay people when it comes to titles and courtesy titles. But we are where we are. I can't change that. Fact is fact. When a male who has no title of their own marries a female that has a HRH and a title, that male does not take on the same title, style, and rank of his wife. Edo, when he marries Princess Beatrice, is going to remain Mr. Edoardo Mapelli Mozzi. He will not be given a title. He will not be given a HRH. He will remain a private citizen. Princess Beatrice will remain Her Royal Highness Princess Beatrice, but she will drop the of York. She will not be of York. So she'll be Her Royal Highness Princess Beatrice, Mrs. Edoardo Mapelli Mozzi, as in line with letters patent, which are the law of the land. And so basically, they will not be royal. The males will not be doing any official work on behalf of the Queen. Now, if rumours are to be believed, Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie do step up and take on more duties from the Queen, and the Queen's cousins, once obviously there is natural wastage, shall we say, going on. Then they may be working royals, but their husbands will not be taken into account. Their husbands are private citizens, private individuals who will not be carrying out work on behalf of the Queen. When, for example, Catherine and Meghan married William and Harry, respectively, they took on, as females, the rank and style and title of their husbands. They became working royals. It's what's expected of a female when they join a senior royal, a high-ranking royal, is different to that of a male who marries a female. It's sexist. It's unfair. It needs updating, but it is what it is, and that's the fact. So I'm hoping that I've kind of cleared that up a little bit for you. Terry Turner says that you like the present system. I think it needs, for it to be relevant, I think it needs to be updated. I still like the system where we have titles, styles, honours, courtesy titles, but I think that should be extended to everybody, regardless of who they are. It needs to fit in with the population. We now have equal marriage here in the UK, and those laws don't quite reflect. And there could come a time when maybe it's needed. Joyce says, Edo seems to have a great life. There's no reason he would want a title. Definitely. There's no reason why he would at all. Taverna says, agreed, the system needs tweaking. It's not a major overhaul. It just needs to be extended so that it represents all of the people. That's all. Let's read up a little bit. Aurora Rose says, wasn't Prince Philip a prince of Greece and Denmark when he married? No, he had to renounce that. He was made a prince later after marriage. But no, he had to renounce that title first. JB says, hi Elliot, thank you so much for answering our questions and keeping us informed, whether some believe or disbelieve. I still like listening to your chats. Thank you. Taverna says Charles is progressive, so hopefully he will make changes to issuing of courtesy titles. It's likely to happen at some point, but I don't know under whom and when. Dawn says, love your channel. You have such a conscientious approach. Thanks so much for explaining the tiaras. Love your content and style. Thank you, by the way, but you just reminded me, what tiara am I wearing today? I am wearing the Spencer family tiara, which was the other tiara which Diana's family tiara, which she wore. So there we go, which is now back with the Spencers, because it is the Spencer family tiara. Right, let's have a scoot down and see what people are saying. Julie says that you love the Spencer tiara. And Maggie says, Charles wants to slim down the monarchy, I heard. We've all heard that, but we've never had any official confirmation on it. However, Charles has kind of, if that is Charles's wish, he's got his wish early. And he's now facing a situation, and I spoke about this before, but I'll say it again. He's facing a situation where it may be slimmed down too far, because we now have a situation where Harry and Meghan have stepped back from being senior royals. We have Prince Andrew, who has been forced to step back from public duties. We have a queen who is still fit, healthy, well. She's a goddess, you know. I worship the ground she walks on, but she is getting older and she is relinquishing more patronages as she gets older. Eventually, she will not be here anymore. I know that's a sad, sad thing to think about, but eventually she won't. Her cousins are also eventually not going to be able to do what they currently do on behalf of the country to support the Queen. So, in a situation where all of those people are gone, we have working royals, Charles, Camilla, William and Catherine, and obviously any of Charles's siblings, which is a much more slimmed down monarchy than what Charles perhaps would have wanted. So there is capacity now for Princess Beatrice and Eugenie to come in and mop up a lot of the workload that otherwise wouldn't have a royal patron. And I think it would be such a shame to those charities and organisations to not have a royal patron, not have a royal representative who can shed light on those charities, on the good work that they do. It really does help. It helps so much in the UK to have a royal patron. So I think Charles may have to rethink the whole Beatrice and Eugenie scenario. There's already hints that the Queen may want Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie to step up under her reign. Never mind Charles's reign, under her reign. So, hey, what Queen wants, Queen gets. So I'm hopeful for Beatrice and Eugenie. Let's put it that way. Let's have a look. HW says Beatrice's fiance was still living with his baby mama, whom he never married. This does not bode well for the royal family. We are not going to discuss personal family situations. Everybody's family situation regarding relationships is different, and I don't think anybody should be judged on their relationship statuses and past. Basically, that's none of our business. But what we do know is that Beatrice has found someone who she regards that she wants to marry. As far as we're aware, Andrew and the posts which Sarah has made, and when I've seen television clips of her speaking about Edo, she has been beaming and singing his praises. So Mum and Dad are happy, Beatrice is happy, and I think, you know, everyone should be happy for her. And if it were to go wrong, then she has got a strong family unit to support her in that. But I wish Princess Beatrice all the best, and I think everybody should too. Let's have a look. Mercury Angel says nothing like a bit of sense of humour at BAFTA to say what everyone was thinking. I thought it was a moment, and the moment is now gone, and everyone moved. Oh, you're on about at the BAFTAs when there was a joke made about Harry and Meghan in the presence of William and Catherine. Now, I did see a story out there. I didn't really think it worth mentioning, but I will now that it's been brought up. So there was a story going around that maybe the BBC or whoever broadcast it, I can't remember which organisation it was, but whoever broadcast it edited it to make it look like William and Catherine were enjoying it, but secretly they were fuming and all the rest of it. Again, we do not know, we cannot say for sure what they privately thought about it. What we do know is that we saw them there clapping and laughing and joking about it. So as far as we are aware, on the surface, they got the joke, they found it funny. Some people might say, was it maybe a little bit too soon for that kind of humour? But the British do have a good sense of humour. Part of our sense of humour is poking fun at ourselves. So I think William and Harry and Catherine would have got the joke. It kind of fits with British humour. So yes, a little bit of a ribbing, a little bit of taking some stick is kind of what we do. So William and Catherine would not been, I don't think, wouldn't be out of place with it. I mean, a little bit awkward maybe, but that's the sort of thing that you kind of laugh off. Muted Cool says the royal bloodline has to stay on the male side, so giving husbands titles will be out of line. Depends how they do it. If you could make a courtesy title for a male, a counterpart courtesy title for a male that's equivalent to the counterpart that's a female that's marrying somebody with a title, it could work. I don't know what they could be. I'm not the oracle, but I'm sure something could be worked out. Hello to Scott Goff. Right, that's it. That's all my stories for tonight, unless something incredible happens and I manage to pop back on. So, I'm going to leave it here for tonight. I hope you all go and enjoy the rest of your Sunday or Sunday evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. And also, I hope you have an amazing and fabulous week ahead. So, if you have enjoyed this video, please give it a big old thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell so that you know whenever I upload a new video. Also, I will say before I go, if you've missed my video on the lesser known royal engagements of the week, do go and check that out, because there are some really fabulous engagements that have gone on this week that don't always get the praise, and yeah, I'm going to go with praise, the praise that they deserve. So do go and check out that video. There is a whole mixture of royals, including Princess Alexandra. So if you were ever wondering what the Queen's cousins do when I talk about the Queen's cousins, go check out that video, because Princess Alexandra is in there. So from me in Shropshire, mwah to you all, and goodbye.